Welcome to Hamim Loyal. This is Eric Grissom.
And I'm Dan Johnson. Eric and I will be rewatching the iconic Twin Peaks from the pilot through the return and everything in between.
If this is your first time watching, or if you're a longtime fan, you can watch along with us as we dive deep into the strange and wonderful world of Twin Peaks.
We live inside a dream.
Hello, Danny. How are you today? Hello, Danny. How are you today?
Oh, that scene.
Today on Meanwhile, we have reached part 10, Dan. Part 10, Laura is the one. I've been saying it for years. Laura is the one.
I didn't believe you. Yeah.
I actually don't have any pre-show banter, so I think I could tell you it came out on July 16th, 2017 on Showtime, and unless you have anything else...
I think we should just get into it. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. Let's get into... Hello, Danny.
The Truman brothers are both true men. They are your brothers. And the others, the good ones who have been with you. Now the circle is almost complete. Watch and listen to the dream of time and space. It all comes out now, flowing like a river. That which is and is not. Fuck. Laura is the one.
Richard confronts Miriam at her trailer when he learns that she sent the sheriff a letter identifying him as the hit-and-run driver, and he, by all accounts, has murdered Miriam.
Based on what the wreckage is that he's left behind, I think it's a pretty safe bet that Miriam's not waking up, or if she does, she's going to have quite the headache. This was such a crazy way to start this episode because Richard Horne is just on full display throughout this entire episode. Just a horror of a man, and we really get to see that in a couple of situations up close and personal. This time, however, we see it from the outside. We see Miriam's trailer. It's a beautiful day in the environs of Twin Peaks. But it's a trailer that looks like it's seen better days. We mentioned before in the first time we meet Miriam at the diner that she's so generous and treats people to things. And I think it was Shelley that mentioned to Heidi, like, she can't afford to do that. That's so nice of her. They're going to, treat her next time she comes in. And we see that's how she's living. She got the trailer with the little picket fence around it and still has Christmas decorations up.
She's very into Christmas.
Very into Christmas, it seems. But it's a beautiful environment, bucolic, rural, out in the woods, gorgeous. And then this violent thunderstorm that's Richard Horne comes up, and the two of those juxtaposed against each other is even more effective here. Definitely seems like there's some history between the two of them. I can imagine they went to high school together, and Richard Horne was very much then like he is now, and a terror and bully, and probably had some backstory there with Miriam. Um, it's just real crazy to watch as she's standing at the door, and you know what's going to happen. She's given him enough information that he can stand there and do the mental calculation that, yep, it's just worth it. I'm going to have to murder her. And that you see when he does that, closes his eyes and does a little head tilt there, that he's just switched into killer mode.
Yeah, he's a bad dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. I don't think he's a very good guy. But then we don't see the violence. We see the aftermath. We don't see it actually happen. So it's all done in the sound mix. So you hear the thumping, you hear the screaming, you hear the gas turning on inside the trailer. So not seeing it even makes it even more terrifying. But as Richard just runs up to that door and bashes it in, it's like she just has no protection and absolutely trapped there.
No, it's very reminiscent of Teresa Banks getting killed in Fire Walk with Me. You don't see it, you just hear the club.
And it works so well, but it's just horrifying. After all that's done, and Richard Lee of course, he has to remind us that he's working with the other sleazebag around, Chad. So gives Chad a call right away, knows they has to get that envelope so that the letter doesn't get to the sheriff. Chad's just a bit of a weenie. So where Richard is just pure evil and menace, Chad is just kind of lazily bad. It's like, oh, this is going to be a big pain in the butt to do kind of mode. But I don't know, man. What do you think? Does Richard have something on Chad besides the drug running and everything? Is that it? Like, how is he able to control a police officer that way? Is it just that they're kind of wrapped up in that business?
I think nobody likes Chad. I think his coworkers don't like him. The lowlives that he does business with, like, nobody respects him at all. He's a psychopath. He'll beat the shit out of Chad. Like, this is Richard Horne, which we're going to learn more about him as this episode goes. But yeah, he's not, Chad I don't think he needs something on him. He's just
out of fear.
He just dominates the people around him. Yeah, but I love that scene, him telling him off, because Chad is so pathetic. We just saw last week, like, his coworkers not hold the door open for him as he's eating his stinky lunch. And then even in the other side, in his bad world, they don't respect him. He is the most unrespected character in this world, and I love it.
Yeah.
Richard's car is also interesting because it's like so beat up and it's made of all these different colored parts. And if you look, there's a red pieces, black pieces, white pieces, like the various, rooms and lodges. Like, Richard is made up of different things. I love you talked about Miriam's decorations, which are cool. There's like a cool little birdhouse as well on her roof. It's, man, visually, that reflection of Richard in the glass door as he's confronting him, and all the stuff that we know about reflections in Twin Peaks, especially when it's related to certain characters, is really striking, because you just see her in the doorway. She's telling him that she's already contacted the police, which is something to think about. Like, who did she talk to? Assuming Chad. But you see his reflection in that glass, and it's like, oh, God, this is fantastic. And we also reveal, like, that scene in there with the lit candle that he lit his cigarette off of. The gas is going. The door is open. And she's just bleeding profusely out of her brain.
Yeah.
As we cut to the Fat Trout trailer park, where Carl is going to witness another domestic disturbances inside another trailer. It's our second trailer.
Yep.
Second thing with severe violence against women, as Steven is going to terrorize Becky. But Harry Dean Stanton is playing Red River Valley.
From this valley, they say, you are leaving. I will miss your bright eye and sweet smile. For they say you are taking the sunshine that will brighten my pathway of life. Come and sit by my side, little darling. Do not hasten to bid me adieu. Just remember that Red River Valley.
And we're watching literally a red river flow out of Miriam's head as we go into that song.
Yeah, I mean, again, we had the juxtaposition of the beautiful kind of tranquil scene and the violence that happens to Miriam, and then again after that violence, back to Carl singing a beautiful song, and his rendition of it's beautiful. There's always something a little bit sad about Carl at all times, and it infuses the song. It's beautiful. Then you get the red mug coming flying out of the trailer. Red mug again from Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Very similar when we saw it last. Dougie and Janie E there drinking out of the red mugs. So again with the color. Carl just muttering, "It's a fucking nightmare," is great. I mean, dreams within dreams. Some dreams are violent. This nightmare is one he's probably witnessed different versions of over his entire career there managing trailer park. Man, I I just want to know what poor Becky sees in Steven, because this version, what a charmer. Didn't like him before, but wow, when he's whatever's going on with him, withdrawal or what something else, who never knows what's going on, but he seems completely paranoid. He kept saying, I know exactly what you did. I know exactly what you did. So perhaps we'll find out if she did do something or if he's just completely off the rails, either high or in withdrawal from whatever they're on, if it's Sparkle or whatnot. This time, though, we don't just hear the violence, we really see it. It doesn't go to the same extreme as we had with Richard and Miriam, but just as effective emotionally. And really just hate to see Becky kind of in that position, obviously, but just to actually have to witness that and almost kind of partake in that is a tough thing to see.
So, yeah, so I mentioned the song Red River Valley. The song is about a woman that's leaving, and as she's leaving, she's taking all of the sunshine away. And before she leaves, he just wants to sit with her, and he wants to say goodbye to her, but his love is unrequited. And it's a theme that is repeated at the end of this song or end of this episode when we go to No Stars. And it's a theme, I think, throughout the entirety of Twin Peaks, with Laura being gone and all of those elements and this idea of trying to go back to something that's already gone or trying to hold on to something that's already gone. And it's an interesting choice, not to mention, obviously, the Red River stuff with the blood. He is drinking out of a white coffee mug on a red cooler when he's interrupted by that red coffee mug coming out of the Burnett trailer. I mean, red is such a powerful and recurring color in this world. Steven yelling at her, like, not to talk to him about what he does and doesn't do. And he's yelling about money when we saw that he literally can't get a job. He's going to these job interviews with Mike completely high. He's such trash. And his line, like, I don't tell you to clean up this place. It's, it's Leo, right? It's echoes of Leo.
Man needs a clean house.
I mentioned this before, right? When that scene when Becky leaves the double R and she's watching, and all of the stuff about he was so cool at first with his flashy car, and it's the same thing. It's happening again.
He was so great at first, Had this flashy guy in his hot car. And then we get married, and I find out all I was looking for was a maid he didn't have to pay.
She's doing the same things her mom did. And at this point, too, he's like not striking her. He's like terrorizing her in her face. And the poor girl, like in her head, is probably making all these excuses. Oh, he's not like that. And it's there. I mean, it's going to be happening if it hasn't happened already. Like it's just,
for sure.
It's terrible to see play out. But it is such a reflection of everything we saw with Shelley before. All right, so let's go over to another home and some more violence. This is the home of the Mitchum brothers, and Candie stops a fly on Rodney Mitchum's face.
All right, yeah. So we go from the brutality that we've seen in the previous two scenes to something slapstick. The way that this goes on for so long, and you know where it's going to end. Like, there's no other way that this could possibly end. The way that he just sets this all up from the beginning, winds up the toy, and just lets it go for a full minute or so as Candie's pantomiming around with her first her napkin to try to swat the fly. Let me see. Rodney Mitchum sitting there going over what looks like just casino security logs. I don't know if there's anything more to it, but I couldn't really.
He's going over surveillance logs, which again is a huge part of the show, and this idea of surveillance and cameras and watching. And yeah, that's exactly what he's going over.
And he's double checking it as well on top of that. So surveilling the surveillors. And then finally, just that whack on the face and her immediate reaction, that explosion of crying over it. And as soon as he turns his face in the blood, I mean, it looks like he got smacked by a cheese grater and not a remote control. She's got a heck of an arm to hurt him like that.
In reality, I have a lot to say about this in terms of themes and things like that. But in reality, I had heard on Twin Peaks Unwrapped, they had interviewed Mark Frost.
Uh-huh.
So what happened was the actor had gotten hit with like a light or something happened on set where he got hurt.
Oh.
And so Lynch just improvised this whole scene so that he would get hit so it would match. So the wound is like a real wound. That's why it's very, very severe. But they added this. But forget about that. That's why that's a little bit of Judy. I want a little bit of Judy in my mashed potatoes here. Because you watch 3 scenes of domestic violence. Like, it starts out, we're going to watch a stranger assaulting a woman in her trailer. Then we watch a married couple, the man assaulting his wife. And then you have this scene, and it's couldn't be the distance between the two. She's overcome with empathy. And his reaction to her empathy and sadness and responsibility for what she did, it basically breaks her. But he meets her with nonviolent, like, he's like, it's okay. Like, it's such a different handling of the same thing, this little comedy thing, and then 2 hyper realistic, very violent things that it's hard to look at. And it's just an interesting choice. It's also like, story wise, it's like the first seed where you begin to, it allows you to root for the Mitchum brothers. Like, how Rodney reacts to Candie hitting him is like, okay, this guy's not so bad. We're going to get more of that in this episode as well. So it's like setting us up that these, who are clearly bad guys, I mean, they are connected and they're doing bad things. We saw them beat the crap out of the casino manager. I mean, that was our first introduction to them. And now you get this, and it like softens them enough that is going to allow you to root for them. And I enjoy both these characters a lot. Candie's amazing. So Amy Shields, we talked about her before. Actually, all 3 of them, like Candie, Mandy, and Sandy, they feel so much like women out of time. Time is such a big element in this episode. And we're going to talk about that, way more about that in future episodes. But she's great. Like, I love watching her on screen. I think this whole scene is very funny to me. She did, what did I say? I said Margaret, Audrey, and who am I missing? Norma in The Secret History. So she was a voice actor. I mentioned that when we first got to them, but it's worth bringing up again. She also does voices for video games. I think she's in 1 or more of the Final Fantasy games. But anyway, great comedy. Bradley running in. Fantastic. I could take that stuff all day long. All right, so now we're going to go to another lighthearted scene at Dr. Ben's office, where Dr. Ben is going to check out Dougie, and so does Janie E.
Yeah, this was so fun. Who is playing the doctor?
John Billings. This is the actor's name.
Yeah, I think he was a Star Trek actor playing a character on Star Trek. I think he played Neelix, I think, but I didn't double check this, but I didn't know his name. Anyway, he's super fun. His reaction whenever he takes out helps Dougie out of his shirt. Again, everyone kind of doing everything for Dougie. He's undressing him, a 50-something-year-old man just undressing him. But no, he's got a history. And it's not until he notices boy, you seem to have lost a lot of weight since the last time I saw you. Now Janie E finally sees him. It's just the thing of like having been with someone for so long and you form an opinion of them and that kind of calcifies over time, I guess. Not speaking from any personal experience, every day is a gift. But she doesn't see who he actually is now, other than, he's wearing a suit and got a haircut, but he's completely changed the way that he looks. And Janie's really taken notice.
So is the doctor. Like, doctor as well. Like, he is ripped. Like, Kyle MacLachlan got in
He looks great.
Great shape. I do not look like this, friends. But yeah, it's like, God bless you, sir. This whole scene's great. But I like how also interested the doctor is. Like, oh wow, how much weight did you lose? And even her like saying,
how much weight has he lost? I think he's lost a lot of weight, in a good way.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Now, last time I saw you, you were quite overweight.
he seemed like he lost a lot of weight, but in a good way.
But in a good way, right? Totally. Yeah, but it's just, that first kind of biting her lip look. And then where it goes in the later scene is just so good. Because she's so subtle in the way that she does it, but it comes across beautifully, and what's behind her eyes. I'm going to say it here. Hot take. Naomi Watts, great actress. Dougie saying peculiar.
Well, he's just acting peculiar.
Peculiar.
Is wonderful, and I want that on a loop forever. The way that he repeats it is terrific. Again, with the just childlike innocence, he wants to touch the stethoscope, but he's getting in the way of it, and he has to keep getting his hand knocked away because he keeps doing that like he was doing with the badge previously, and we get to see that again later. Fantastic. It's remarkable. I think the doctor says terrific. Yeah, just a really fun scene that sets up the later one. But just Janie finally actually seeing this guy.
Seeing him in that way. Yeah.
Right. Well,
you watch her clock it and she's like, oh.
Well, that's what I mean. But she's like, even previously had to dress him and like she did everything but put the tie on him. But even then she didn't really realize how much he's changed. It took someone else noticing and seeing through their eyes for her to see that.
Well, I think physically she knew he changed, right? Because there's many times where she's talking about how much weight did you lose.
Dougie, you've lost weight. Let me cinch this up. This jacket looks 2 sizes too big.
I feel like she's seeing him sexually here, whereas like their relationship has been moving closer and closer. Like you look at how she was taking care of him. She's now going into the office. She's dealing with them with the police. So I think in that sense she's with him. But now it's like a sexual thing. Now she's seeing him in a way that she probably hasn't, like you said, for decades or however long they've been married.
For sure. Well, yeah.
All right, so we're going to go over to the Mitchums. Candie is going to struggle with her mistake, and the brothers catch Ike and Dougie on the news.
Who is it that comes over to try to comfort Candie? I can't keep Mandy or Sandy straight. Do you know?
Yeah. So this is such an absolutely beautiful master shot. So in the foreground, right, you got Candie. She's the one. She's broken up. She's hurting because she's broken up about hurting Rodney. In the mid ground is Sandy. So she's the one that's giving Rodney the drink. And in the background, Mandy is preparing a new drink in the kitchen. But it's so well composed, the setup here. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and we've seen the Mitchum place before, but in this shot in particular, again with the mid-century modern sort of stuck out of time, old Vegas, I guess, kind of feel to it. Beautiful way to set the scene. But I just want to know, because it's you said it was Sandy in the mid-ground coming up to try to comfort Candie, and she's just having none of it. It wasn't like that, but just pushes her away. It's like, I can't even accept your help. And you know that these ladies spend all waking hours together. And Rodney just seems like he just doesn't know what to do with her. Like to your point before, like you would expect him to have reacted with violence because we think that these hardened criminals running these casinos in Vegas and beating the crap out of people. But even here, he's just like, it's going to be fine, baby. I'm good. It's just he's exasperated, but not to the point of like getting angry about it. It's like, what can I do? Finally, when they see I love the newscast. I worked in a company where we did a lot of work for TV stations across the country. So just to see local news like this, it's like, yeah, that feels very accurate. Because so many times in shows when they portray local news, it doesn't seem real. I love the rolling dice. And it's local news. It's terrific.
Yeah, the last 2 dice that you see is a 6 and a 1, so it's a 7.
Oh, very good. You got the lucky 7. So you got the local news. Rodney saying they got Ike, and they have to call off the hit that they had out on him. Again, these are bad guys, but I do like Bradley saying, "Save us a whack-a-dough." Nice, and they do like an air fist bump. They just get more and more charming throughout all of this, especially in this episode. And I hope I feel like I remember that it continues, but I don't really remember any of the details. I just love how this is evolving, the two of them as a characters. Super funny. You see on the TV the scenes that we had seen before from the camera's point of view of like a reporter, so we get to see that played back again. The whole interview with Soccer Mom again, but then Janie and Dougie there. And again, Janie's trying to retell the whole story as Dougie's trying to touch the badge and knock it away. Super good. And they do the freeze frame, and the line, "It turns out our Mr. Jones is Mr. Jones." Like it wasn't an alias. It's super funny. What a world that we live in. It was just great. This is such a funny scene. And then just Candie's, the depths of despair. How can you ever love me after what I did to you? And it's like, in the scheme of things, lady, not that big a deal.
How can you ever love me after what I did?
Yeah, that is such a heavy line. Like, in this world where so many men have done terrible, unforgivable things, like thinking of Ben Horn specifically, who I'm usually trying to root for, but there are many. But like how she's how could you ever love me after what I did? And you think about all these people, all these characters, and the terrible things that they've done. The scene is also so great because it's so quiet. There's no sound in the scene. You only hear the whimpering of Candie and Rodney pleading with her that he's fine until the newscast comes on, and then that fills up some of the sound space.
Candie, I'm fine. I'm okay.
But it's just very quiet scene. So you hear all the little clinks of her making the glasses in the background, and Mandy making the drinks in the background. It's really nice. You get a shot of the forecast. I mentioned this last week, so you could try to figure out these dates. So you've got it starts on a Thursday, which would suggest that it's Thursday, right? That's when so if it's Thursday, that lines up with this being the 29th. Because Thursday the 29th, Friday the 30th, October 1st would be Saturday, which is, it said Saturday the 1st on American Girls Watch.
Yeah.
In episode 3, or part 3. So that's something to hold on to and tuck yourself in with. Again, Rodney, by acting this way, is just, we're being drawn to him. He's being drawn to our side. The clear, sort of the line of delineation between the good characters and the bad characters. We clearly are seeing the Richards of the world. And even though these guys are a little bit into the bad stuff, they're clearly people that we're allowed to like. Yeah, you covered the other stuff. So let's go over to the Joneses' home, where Janie E. and Dougie are going to go to bed early, Dan.
Just turn in for the night, get some shut-eye. So the scene continues from before. I like that it starts with Janie's legs crossed and just tapping her foot there, playing with her shoe, and just pans up her as she's looking at Dougie with those eyes. It's great. And then Dougie sitting there eating that cake like there's no tomorrow, just absolutely the pure innocence of him compared to what's on her mind is wonderful. It's so good. He's loving the cake. She's enjoying the view. The two of them are going to collide here. the way that she's coming onto him is just is really awesome. And it's just, he is so involved in the cake. The thing with Dougie that's happened so long that we've talked about, he just keeps getting steered in the right direction. People are helping him out. He repeats the last word and people take that as like agreement or whatever and moves him on. Like he's kind of passive and kind of gets ping-ponged around. In this case, though, she's asking him, do you find me attractive? I find you attractive. And he doesn't repeat the last line like attractive. You would have kind of expected that would have been like the go sign here, but it didn't matter. I don't know. It was a small thing. It's just like that's happened so much throughout every interaction with Dougie. In this case, didn't matter. It's time for bed.
It's a very good piece of cake.
It's a great piece of cake. I wonder what it looks like, a black forest. Cut to their bedroom. Janie on top. The funniest thing of just Dougie laying there and the way that his arms flap side to side cracked me up. It was so good. And then the poor Sonny Jim wakes up having to hear this, probably hasn't heard that in his entire life.
Pour one out for all the folks out there listening that have heard their parents have sex. Nobody. It's happened to a lot of us. That's it. And the way he just bolts up.
Right.
And he's like, what is happening to mom? Yeah, it's
have not even seen them so much as share a kiss, I think, and this. And then whenever they're laying there relaxing after, Dougie looks 20 years younger. I don't know if they did anything. I don't know if it's just a good angle of laying back in that direction. Kyle MacLachlan looks like he's lost 20 years there. If it's not an effect, it's a good health tip there. You got to practice that self-care. But we do get the repeating here when Janie's snuggling up to him, gives him a kiss and says, I love you. He does repeat, love you there. It's great. What a great scene for them. I'm so happy for this couple. I'm rooting for him.
It's always a neat shot of the establishing shot of the Jones home. I just love when they use that shot and you see the red door there, and it's just a very striking visual. Janie E. staring at Dougie, and the moment of just watching her feet touch inwards, and you get so much of the sexual energy that's pent up in her through this scene. Like, Lynch is a master of sex and doing really meaningful, erotic, like visceral sex scenes. Like, it doesn't just go from her looking at him in the doctor's office to a hard cut. Like, just taking that moment and watching, and for Naomi Watts, I mean, she's fantastic. She's fantastic in this scene. But the way she moves her hands, the curling of her toes, like, it's all there. It's just so visceral. I have heard a quote from Lynch, but it's one of those like quotes that you see. It's like, maybe it's on IMDb quotes.
Sure.
And you're like, did he actually say this? Is this made up? Is like, whatever. But it is this. Sex is a doorway to something so powerful and mystical. But movies usually depict it in a completely flat way. And I think that's true. And I don't think Lynch portrays sex as magic. And you feel it. And it's a fantastic scene. And of course, you think of Mulholland Drive and all these wonderful scenes. So many wonderful scenes where characters are having sex or making love or whatever. I just love it. It's so, there's so much weight to it. And it's that moment, just, man, her shoes turning in, like, that's it. That's it for me. I absolutely love that. After the sex is one of my favorite scenes, one of my favorite little scenes. Like, the Janie E. Dougie love story is something I love all of the Twin Peaks love stories. That's the one thing you'll learn about me. I love all the love stories. I'm waiting on my Norma and Big Ed. I want to return to them at some point. But the music playing as they're in bed, Slow Dream. It's a song by Johnny Jewel.
Dougie, I love you.
Love you.
Not counting the Chromatics tunes, and we get 2 of those, but we get 3 songs from him. We've heard 2 of them already, Windswept, The Flame, now Slow Dream. They're all wonderful. It's just this nice mood. We're going to get a follow-up from that from Janie E. when they're about to go to work, and just them telling each other, because this little piece of sunshine, like this little moment of tenderness, is inside of an episode with such hatred and violence and just misogyny. And we didn't even get to the worst of it that's going to come. And so having like these light shades to the darkness is so welcome. And I just love it. And I love that the music, it's perfect moment. All right, so we're going to jump over to somewhere atop Whitetail Peak, where Dr. Amp is taken to the airwaves again, and Nadine listens from her business, Run Silent, Run Drapes.
Yep. Well, we're in the third trailer of this episode. We have Miriam, Steve, and Dr. Amp out in this trailer. Love Nadine. Her dream got realized.
Yeah, and the good dream, too. This is the good dream.
As opposed to...
Like, this is Nadine as a innovator, as a business person, as not freaking wrestling Nadine and winning trophies, I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Like they've taken her back to the core Nadine that is my favorite Nadine.
Absolutely, yes. 100% agree with you. The drapes seem to be silent. You don't hear them going. I like that you have the only thing in the display is the black drapes going back and forth, revealing and hiding the golden shovel. She's a diehard fan. She's probably Dr. Amp's #1 fan. So that's really cool. We got Dr. Amp just going on his rant again. And they're really interesting, like the themes that he's talking about. But I do like this whole, whatever it is, talk radio, shock jock sort of thing that he's doing. He has this line about like corporations, why don't they eat the poison that's coated in sugar that they feed our kids? Because they'll die in the streets just like us, and they'll bloat like a big red fucking balloon. Just makes you think of the red balloons from Haps, or the deflated balloon behind the 119 mom.
119.
So it's interesting to call that out.
It also made me think of the McDonald's CEO. So like while this was going on, did you see that video?
Chris K here with, you've heard about it, here it is, the big arch.
Yes, it's great. And all the reaction videos to it and all the other ones piling on him, they're great.
It's like literally like, he's like, why don't these monsters bite into these tasty treats themselves?
Why don't these monsters bite into those tasty treats themselves?
I don't even know how to attack it. Got so much to it.
They'll die in the streets, just like us. And then they'll bloat like a big red fucking balloon.
That is so good. That's a big bite for a big arch.
That's right.
And it's him with that fucking arch, whatever, big arch, taking the tiny, because he knows it's poison. Like it was perfect. And I even like spent a little bit of time and I was like, oh, can I make an edit of cutting that with the footage? And I couldn't get something that I was happy with, so I threw it away. But it's so funny like that was going on as I was watching these episodes for the 6th time or whatever. It's great.
That's really good. That I've really been enjoying all of the response videos to that. So this is a good one to add on top of that onto the pile. Just the last thing of Nadine and how enthralled she is, and her line, "Oh, he's so beautiful," is terrific. So I don't know. I hope to see Nadine out of her seemingly successful business setting at some point. So fingers crossed.
We'll see what happens. Nadine is also drinking what looks like a strawberry milkshake. Now, I would have thought, based on everything that Dr. Amp is saying, chemicals and poisons, it's probably something she made herself. However, we see another one of these later, and I'm wondering if it's a milkshake from the Double R, which would be a huge step for Nadine, considering Norma is always there sitting at her little table. So we'll have to see if that means anything in the future. But yes, so she's drinking a strawberry milkshake. There's another version of that coming.
I was just assuming that it was a homemade thing, like with huckleberries or something. Yeah, but that's interesting.
You would think, yeah, because of the way he's talking about chemicals and all this stuff. But when we see it again, it's like, oh, okay. And then that feeds into the idea that she's growing as a person and not running from Norma the way she did in the missing pieces.
If it's coming from the Double R, then that might mean that it's they use nothing but organic ingredients there. So speaks well for them.
Yeah,
if she's trusting it. Anyway, no, it's cool.
All right, so we're going to jump over back to the Joneses, where Janie E is going to take Sonny Jim to school and Dougie to work. And their romance is going to continue to blossom. full blossom of the evening.
Yeah, this is just a quick scene, but just to show that it wasn't just a fluke and one night thing. She's been thinking about it all night long, just giving Dougie that kiss before they leave. So Jeannie's had her eyes opened, has a real awakening there. So yeah, nice to see.
Yeah, this scene is awesome. And especially when you look at this scene in contrast to the first time we had this same scene.
Where is your car anyway? In the car!
In part, whatever, I want to say it's part 4, or when she realizes his car is missing. She's got to take him and she's yelling at him and doesn't know which. This is like the same thing, but it's totally different. The music is swelling. Like she's so happy and like all the love and affection. And I can't stop thinking about last night. And again, I mentioned it, like there was a brutal attack against Miriam. There's domestic abuse. There's freaking Dr. Amp angry at corporations that are destroying us. And it's like, at least there's this moment of her pulling him in and them loving each other. It's a great story. It's like, we got to think like, well, there's Cooper in there.
Yeah.
Like that's, he's eventually going to leave, or we hope that he's going to leave. And like, so what's going to happen to this romance? Something also to worry about, I guess. You were going to say something?
Nothing important. I'm glad that you mentioned the previous time we see a scene like this. I think maybe it was part 4 because she got dressed and they had the whole breakfast thing, or around there they sent him out.
It was 4 or 5.
But that was the scene, right, where they're getting into the car and he has that moment of looking at Sonny Jim in the back seat and they, has the tear in his eye too.
Yeah.
So emotional, but in a different way. But I didn't make that connection before. Pretty cool.
All right. So we're going to jump over to the woods of Twin Peaks where Jerry Horn is going to search for a cell signal.
Oh man, Jerry's still out there. At least maybe he's defeated his doppelganger foot. Because he's able to get around. I love that he sticks the cell phone to a tree branch to help get a signal. It could
work. Acts as like a natural antenna.
He's going to try anything at this point because he's been out there for however long it's been. And then just screaming, "You can't fool me. I've been here before."
You can't fool me. I've been here before.
I know that there's not a whole lot of, from what Lynch has said, not a whole lot of meta commentary or whatnot, but it does feel a little bit like it is pointing at something. Like we are kind of, it is happening again. Things are recurring. We're still stuck in the same place, kind of going in circles. Definitely for myself, the first viewing through and like kind of waiting for things to happen that in the way that I expected them to and not getting that, feeling a bit of a runaround. I've been in this spot before. I've been kind of marching in place forever. I can kind of get that feeling as well. This time through, it's just a gas. Love seeing Jerry out there. God, I hope someone saves him or I can find his car and get out of there sometime.
I think You Can't Fool Me, I've Been Here Before 100% is about repeating this thing. We're trapped in this thing and this skipping record. I mean, we've been talking about that for a while. Yeah, I think that's totally valid. There's like a really cool piece in the Blu-rays, like in the behind the scenes stuff. There's a film called The Man with the Gray Elevated Hair by Jason S. There's a fantastic little bit of that where you see them shoot. They're shooting like all of kind of David Patrick Kelly stuff. And so you get this scene where they're talking about this scene.
Bristles over there? This is like this. It's like, this one is, you're up like this, right. No service. Okay. And then you go down and just, you got a thing, and that's the close-up. Okay. And then we're wide on you, and you scream up to the sky, out that way, to the top of that mountain. You can't fool me. I've been here before. Okay.
You can't fool me. I've been here before.
If you can make your way into
What's the thing?
Huh?
What's the thing?
You can't fool me?
No.
What's the thing?
You said, look on this way. No, he hears me, and there's a thing.
Anger. Anger.
What's the thing? And David Lynch tells him anger. It's anger.
Wow.
So it's interesting. Like the thing that he's addressing is anger. I don't know, something neat to roll around your head. Those are the kind of directions you get if you're on set with Lynch and you're asking him, what am I doing over here? What am I looking at? That's a great scene. There's also another scene from another David Patrick Kelly scene in the woods where he like brings up this thing that he told Harry Dean Stanton when they were making Wild at Heart about when he did his death scene, and he was talking about this yogi book about what it's like when a saint leaves its own body. Similar themes, though, that we're seeing come all through here. All right, so at the sheriff's station, Chad intercepts the mail while Lucy eyes him suspiciously.
Lucy's on the ball. She knows what's going on here. Yeah, man. Chad not only is a dirtbag and no one likes him, he's also just suspicious as hell standing out there. It's like, even Lucy's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, he's never stood out there.
Never. And, his attempt to kind of have a conversation with Lucy stalls so that wait for the postman to come. And you could see that he's just trying not to say the mean stuff that he normally would say to her and just kind of sort of have, but he can't help himself being slightly a dick at all times. But he also doesn't want to like draw attention. Like he's just fighting his nature of being an ass at all times. This guy, the worst, terrific. And Lucy was just so excited to tell him a story, and he just cuts her off as soon as the mailman shows up. God, what a sleaze. Going out there, again, pretty inept. He's right there rifling through the mail. Even the mailman's suspicious of a police officer looking.
Even the mailman hates Chad. It's like you get his coworkers, you get his crime buddies, and even the mailman's like, this guy is such a dick.
Such a dick. And just like, what are you doing going through the mail? Like, all right, I guess, whatever. Like, oh, incompetent criminal. And then to top it all off, a beautiful day like this, he calls for a donut. I do love now the on Lucy's reception counter area, a big tray full of at least a dozen donuts there. She's probably got more of the back.
Yeah, like a tray of mints, but it's giant donuts.
It's just giant donuts are restocking them all the time. Pretty awesome. It'll be a real tough thing to have to walk by every day. But anyway, tell me what you thought.
I'm not sure we mentioned it originally, but it's neat to see it says Lucy Brennan, like as opposed to the biggest receptionist sign. I think the font on that receptionist sign is massive. I don't know if I ever really paid as close attention to it. But okay, so I mentioned before my theory that they have been moved in time from 1991 to 2017 or 2016, whenever the world of this show takes place. She does that whole story about clock stop. So much talk about time.
It depends on what time it is. I mean, sometimes there's not even enough time to think of anything. One time, Andy was even thinking that the clock had stopped. And then we realized that we didn't even know what time it was. It seemed like forever when...
Oh, I'm going out, Lucy. I see the mailman. I'm going to collect the mail.
But he'll bring it.
She talks about clock stopping, not knowing what time it is. Andy thought time had stopped. They didn't know what time it was. It seemed like forever, which, again, completely marries into my theory that they only exist when we see them, like when she tells us about the thermostat. 1 minute it's 1991, the next minute it's 2017. Yeah. Also, in terms of time, like, well, I guess I'll save that for later because there's another time when time's going to come up in this episode. I'll just save that. Okay, so this is interesting. When Chad gets the mail, he pulls Miriam's letter, or does he? Because the return address reads Miriam Hedges, but in the credits, she's listed as Miriam Sullivan.
Oh.
So is this even the right Miriam, or is he so incompetent, and it's just a coincidence that there's two Miriams in town that wrote the sheriff?
Fellas, coincidence and fate figure largely in our lives.
Is it like a production mistake? Is it maybe she had there's no way. If you start adding a thing and I'm like, oh, maybe she was married, or like, no one is adding that many elements. So it's either kind of a mistake or it's a joke that he can't even get that right. Like the real letter is going to come in the second mail delivery or something. But it's just kind of neat because it doesn't say Miriam in the credits. It says Miriam Sullivan. And this clearly says Miriam Hedges. So I don't know.
I honestly clocked the Miriam. I didn't even look at the last name. I was just looking at the return address and saw that. And I didn't put that together. That's funny. Eric, it is that point in the show. We've reached the halfway point. You know what that means, Eric?
I do. Means you're going to say some cool names.
Some kind words of thanks to our Patreon supporters that have joined the Black Lodge with us. And you know who we're talking about. You've been with us this long, and you know how you can join this list as well. You can join the list with people like Chuck Suffle, Gregory Flanagan, Don Adamo, Banjo Track, Eric Knopp, Charlie Tapper, Jake Jagello, Matthew Fuller, David Melito, Daryl Deason, Dana Gould, and Jeff.
Yeah.
Let's get another mononym at the end of this. Let's get another person.
Sure, yeah. I know. It's a thank you to all of you. And the people that have signed up for the Pink Room that I don't think I haven't noticed you. I can't say your name. I can't legally say your name because it's not fair to the Black Lodge people, but I do recognize you, and I do see you, and I do thank you. And we could even get some people that do the dollar level just to say thanks with some small token of their appreciation, and some free people. We love you all. So if you want to join and become part of the group, ericgrissom.com/meanwhile, hit the link for Patreon and you'll be on your way. And speaking of on your way, we're on our way to the next scene. All right, so Richard is going to drive to his grandmother's house to rob her, while Johnny says hi to his toy bear.
This was so friggin' rough. There was nothing easy about this scene. Before Richard even shows up, we got Johnny sitting there. You realize that he's bound to the chair. The chair is bound to the table. His hands are all covered in mittens. He's got a helmet on, bruise across his face from the last time we saw him running into a wall and nearly killing himself, it seems like. So this is for his own good, I presume. You see his teeth. Is his mouth wired shut? They look like braces or something, but
I took it as yes, because that's why there's a milkshake there on the table. This is the other milkshake I wasn't talking about. So he's like being fed, only liquid fluids from when he injured himself on the painting.
Okay. Sure. Just a horrifying way to see Johnny, because we didn't really get to see him last time. All he was a blue blur and then crashed out on the ground. But yeah, man, he just looks so rough. And then he's sitting there just staring at that, I don't know, nightmare-based Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, that whole bear. I don't know if you have any thoughts on the bear.
It's, other than it being absolutely terrifying. So, to remind those that are listening but haven't watched in a while, the stuffed bear, normal stuffed bear on the bottom, on top is a nightmare. It's the spherical plastic globe on its head with eyes kind of painted on it and nostrils, a light inside that lights up. Oh no, I guess the eyes aren't they're kind of electronic thing.
It looks like a light bulb.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But then around this big circular mouth cutout looks like putty and actual teeth. They look like teeth, like real human teeth in there. What is please tell me what's happening with this.
Well, I think there's so many neat things about the bear. So the glowing orb reminds me also of like the Rancho Rosa logo. Which I have to say, I talked about it when we did part 8. I was like, oh, it's black and white in the opening of part 8. Isn't that neat? It's different in every episode. Every episode has a different Rancho Rosa logo, usually a color change or something different. But it reminds me of that bulb in the logo. It's also a little bit reminiscent of the arm's head. Now, I came across this. This is not me. I came across something on Reddit. Poster named Ed Manger. He wrote this thing. I was like, holy shit, I love this idea.
Okay.
So he wrote that the repeated phrase, hello, Johnny, how are you today?
Hello, Johnny. How are you today? Hello, Johnny. How are you today?
He wrote, it strikes me that this is likely what Laura Palmer would have said when she was greeting Johnny back in the day. And I absolutely love this idea, because the look of the bear is a glowing sphere, and we know that Laura's soul is a sphere of golden light. It's delivered into our world from Senorita Dido. It's like the white spotlight that passes over Laura's face in the opening of all of these episodes. We see the white light within her when she reveals her face in part 2. We know how much Johnny loved Laura.
We can't take Johnny to the funeral in that ridiculous getup.
Then let the great Dr. Jacoby see what he can do.
No.
You do it then.
Am I going to have to call Dr. Jacoby every damn time I have a problem with Johnny?
We also know how much Sylvia struggled to take care of him. She would have to call in Dr. Jacoby, and how Laura made that easier. So for them to have this Laura doll in an episode called Laura is the One, as a way of comforting him and listening to it over and over and over and over and over to try to go back to the thing, which is the theme of no stars at the end. It's the theme of the song, really, that Harry Dean Stanton is singing. It's what we're doing and trying to go back to a show that we loved in 2017 and try to get back to 1990. So when he suggested that this is what Laura would say, man, I loved it. I ran with it. I can think about that all day. So that's my take on the doll.
That's super interesting. I mean, I kind of wish it would have been a little bit more explicit because it's that male voice.
God, why? Just take away the mystery. Take away all that excitement.
I want
of like thinking about it and connecting those dots. Explicit.
No. I'm not taking anything away from you. That's a very interesting idea, and I like it better than I don't know what I think it is because it's just horrifying.
Yeah, I was connecting definitely to the light and the light bulb. But not that that's what Laura would say to him. And that feels so right to me because that was his relationship with Laura.
There were things about Laura I didn't like, but she did help to take care of my brother Johnny. Guess I sort of loved her for that.
She always went to see him and take care of him. And like, oh, of course, this episode is called Laura is the One. Of course. She's here even when she's not here.
But we just hear that, hello, Johnny, how are you today? Repeated the entire episode. The entire scene, no matter what's happening later. Horns live, or at least Sylvia lives in a really nice place here. They have security because she gets a call that her grandson's coming. So even though she was prepared for him, she really wasn't prepared for this tornado of Richard coming up here. It's the way that he comes in and immediately she tries to warn him off. I think she's probably had kind of interactions like this before and is able to kind of like just take some money and leave. But the fact that he's going whole hog into this, like, you wanted me to get out of here, I'm going to take everything you have and you're never going to see me again, basically. So the way that the way that he's choking her this entire time, trying to get the combination of her safe out of her, throwing her to the ground, and then her terror and her empathy for Johnny laying there on his side because Johnny wants to help her, but he can't do anything because he's all bound up. Sylvia's afraid to help him. She says, we can't make him angry. So this is him at like not the angriest she's ever seen him. She knows that he can go beyond this, and she's scared of what would happen to both of them if that's the case. And then just the amount of time Richard goes through the jewelry, goes to the silverware, goes to all the things, emptying out a purse, grabbing everything he can, and takes it. And his final words whenever he's leaving, like, why do you have to make something so simple, so difficult?
Why you have to make something so simple, so fucking difficult?
God, it's horrible. But then underneath all of it, that background music,
Charmaine,
so great because it reminds me of like a 1940s sort of film score.
Mantovini and his orchestra.
It's so good. This is an orchestral thing, and it does not match this at all. So the way that the two collide with the energy and violence of the scene and this background music and the way it even wraps up, it's almost like puts a little bow on the end as though it was like a happy scene. Terrific. This entire episode is just so much of the juxtaposition of opposites in each scene. It's very cool. And just to hear that in the background with what we're seeing going on really struck me. But what did you think?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's some huge things that come out of this scene, like massive things that we have to talk about.
Okay.
But to start it off, okay, so he gets a text from Chad, it's done, which should be good news. But it does nothing. He's still a mean, angry monster running in here to beat up his grandmother. even though he's getting it's done. So he supposedly should be in better spirits than he actually is. So the Horns are in a house, which is a huge departure of the show, where they lived in the Great Northern. And at the end of this episode, we immediately understand why, because Ben and Sylvia are now no longer together. But it's interesting to see them outside of that. Man, okay, so first off, let's talk. We're not going to get to the good stuff yet. So the furnishings in the Horn house are very good, very interesting too. Like there's lots of doubles. So you've got like these two like people lamps that are on one table. One looks like a maid and the other one looks like a shepherd, I think. Then there's these twin deer antelopes on the hutch, and there's two literal twin horns on the fireplace, like the Horn brothers. There's also a plate of cookies on the table. There's like a jigsaw puzzle. There is that smoothie, the strawberry smoothie, it looks like. It looks like the same thing that Nadine was drinking, presumably feeding Johnny because he can't eat solid foods because his mouth is all jacked up. Is it the same thing? Are they both going to the Double R for it? I don't know. I want to pretend that that's happening for Nadine's growth. But we got to talk about the fact that Richard calls her grandma. Your grandson's here. Like, we knew it was Horn.
Yeah.
Clearly, I've known since I've been doing this show, but we haven't talked about it, that he is not a distant relative. This is either a direct line from Johnny or from Audrey, which means this is Audrey's son, which is a huge fucking deal. Like, we know that she had sex with John Justice Wheeler in his plane.
I want you to make love with me.
Here and now.
It's your jet.
But we also have heard from Doc Hayward that Mr. C was spotted outside intensive care.
What was he doing in intensive care?
I thought at the time he might have been looking in on Audrey Horn. That terrible business at the bank, and she was in a coma.
And that he had thought that she was visiting Audrey Horn. So we have to now, or maybe it's Johnny's kid. No.
That would be very problematic, but okay.
Yeah, that's not what it is. So this is Audrey Horn's son. That's huge.
We really haven't talked about it. You're right. I mean, I knew that in the back of my head.
No, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. I mean, the only thing we had to go until this scene is that his name is Horn. But he could be a distant cousin or whatever. But no, so this is huge. And who's the dad? And like, that's something that we have to think about. And I will be talking about that a lot more when I can more freely. So the violence is just so horrifying. Like, it's so horrible. And when he drops the C word on her, it's just the most brutal thing that you've ever experienced. From a guy who killed a kid. Like, we already watched him run over a kid. He is the worst person. And so you should be thinking in your head about where maybe some of this stuff is coming from, but we'll
for sure
get into that, I guess, when we get into that. Watching Sylvia as well cry on the ground with her son is very sad, but it also humanizes Sylvia more as a character, because we never had that before. She was always very underdeveloped and never very sympathetic. Even when, Johnny was hitting his head into the, I think it's a scene, he's hitting his head into the dollhouse, and Jacoby, she's got to bring a Jacoby. She's yelling at Ben, do I have to call Dr. Jacoby every time? Because he's upset that Laura's not around anymore. Yeah. And now at least you get a moment of humanity with her and love with her son, because there's so many elements of parents and their kids and how they're treating each other, and it's nice to get this, even if it's after such a horrible, I mean, she's viciously attacked. Again, it's another scene of violence in a home, this one from a family member. So we have Stranger when he beats up Miriam, we've got the domestic abuse, now this is like familial violence, like it's everywhere. Yeah. It's just happening again. It's constantly going on under the surface. So let's get back to Vegas. Let's go back to Vegas. So we're going to go back to Vegas. Mr. Todd is going to get some bad news about Ike. and tell Anthony about a new plan.
Yeah, Mr. Todd, man, you're behind the 8 ball here. What are you going to do? Your plans just keep fizzling out. Well, I know what you'll do. You'll call in Anthony because that's going to be a sure winner. Geez, if a well-known hired assassin can't do it, let's bring in this schlub instead. We do find out that, explicitly that Mr. Todd's rivals are the Mitchum brothers. And yeah, they intentionally screwed them over with an insurance appraisal that's going to knock them out of $30 million. Right? It was $30 million.
$30 million.
Huge amount of money. And the way that Mr. Todd treats Anthony Sinclair, I love Tony's sitting way in the background and like there's a little arrangement of chairs in the back and how long it takes him to get up there and walk up to Mr. Todd. And he goes to sit down and Mr. Todd says, "Don't sit down." It's great. Again, one of these people, no respect. No one respects him at all. Everyone knows that he's a friggin' creep.
No, he's got a lot of Chad energy.
They do have big Chad energy. Maybe they're related. But yeah, he's like, he just doesn't even deserve to sit down. You don't even talk. So he's telling him you're going to set up, and he tells explicitly, like, it's a vendetta against them. Get Dougie Jones to be set up as their enemy, and just will sit back and watch the Mitchum brothers take care of their Dougie problem. I don't know, man. Mr. Todd, I guess you kind of tried everything, but this does not seem like the most surefire plan. But they does say if the Mitchum brothers don't get him, it's going to be Tony's job to do it himself. Because he says that, Tony, you're going to have to use all of your creative energies to do this. And then what happens is he ends up repeating almost verbatim what Mr. Todd said. So I just love that he's like, you are the absolute opposite of what he just told you are. It's great.
The opening shot, this is another amazingly composed shot when you talked about him sitting in the back. So it's like you've got Mr. Todd in the foreground, and then you have, this is the time when Roger's in the scene. So Roger's just standing there in the midground, and Anthony's all the way back in this chair, and it almost looks like Cooper in the waiting room, where he's sitting there in that big seat. He's just sort of literally waiting. Patrick Fischler as Duncan Todd is really good in this scene. Like, he really does a fantastic job with this role as Mr. Todd. He's threatening. The way he talks to Anthony, he is formidable in his own right, and he has to be working for Mr. C.
Yeah, I mean, he's totally formidable, scary, but he does it with a smile.
Oh, yeah, which is even more effective.
It's great. It's so good. I like this guy a lot, yeah.
So many big connections are made in this scene as well. So it's like fucking Anthony is working with Mr. Todd, which means indirectly he's working with Mr. C, because we know Mr. C is working with Mr. Todd.
True.
And all the way back in part 6, we saw the Mitchum brothers' names on that list of fatalities in the work that Dougie was doing when he was doing his work. And we assumed like that they were working with Tony in some capacity, right? Because we were seeing all these sketchy things that Tony was doing. Then we were seeing the Mitchum brothers' name. But now we know they were going to deny the Mitchum brothers that claim. So this also means that if the Mitchum brothers are rivals to Mr. Todd, therefore they're rivals to Mr. C, which again puts the brothers closer to us. So it's like we're separating. Okay, now the brothers are against Mr. C, so even more reason for us to bring them onto our side. So it's a wonderful little bit of storytelling. I don't know. That's all I have for this one. We can jump off this. So we're going to go to the hotel in Buckhorn, South Dakota, where Albert is going to have dinner with Constance while Gordon and Tammy look on amusingly.
It's just so nice to see them all happy. Yeah. I love seeing Albert on ostensibly a date. He and Constance seem to that chemistry that we saw before is really paying off. And we still get Gordon getting to watch it all. Unfurl in front of his eyes as he kind of had that grin when he first saw the chemistry there. So that's really nice. Calling Tammy over there, the two of them smiling. And it's just all a very nice way. There's nothing else to it. It's not like, it's just pleasant, really nice. There is one interesting thing that happens here. The patron that walks through the restaurant.
With the French flag?
The woman with the French flag and a bouquet of red flowers, like red and white flowers. So it's the red flowers and like baby's breath maybe or something. Yeah, really took her time walking through the scene. I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of like what that's for?
Yeah, we'll talk about it next time.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, cool. Yeah, because it was pretty much had a big like light bulb over her head, so we paid attention to it, but I didn't know what it was for. Cool. All right, we'll find out later. Anything else in the scene though?
All right. Yeah, I don't have anything. It's cute. I mean, it's great. It's great when he calls Tammy over and they're laughing at Albert, and then he says, it's sweet. Like he said to Tammy about Albert, it's sweet that they're doing. It's just a neat little scene.
Yeah, just laughing at the situation, but like not laughing at them. Happy for him, like laughing at, like, it was very nice. I love it. It's so nice to see it. Anyway, cool.
All right, so we're gonna go to this silver Mustang in Las Vegas. Tony is gonna sell the Mitchum brothers on this idea that was Dougie that was behind their denial.
Yeah, good luck, Tony. We'll see how that goes. So we got the Mitchum brothers there. They're looking at their big surveillance system there, and they see Tony come in. I don't trust that guy as far as I can throw a Buick or whatever he says. Good instinct there. Whenever they tell Candie to go get Anthony, so Candie only listens to Bradley now? Like, I don't understand exactly what's going on, because she was so upset that Rodney's never going to love her after her beating him. But now she's just completely as though she can't hear what he's saying. I'm not sure what to make of it. It's very funny and interesting, but it keeps happening. It's like Bradley has to repeat what Rodney's saying in order for Candie to respond. And then whenever she finally says, like, you want me to go out and get him and bring him here, like, she has this look on his face like, that's, I don't know, almost like challenging him in a way. And the way that she maintains eye contact as she leaves, entire way, like even looking over her shoulder, it was a weird vibe that didn't seem to fit in my head with the over-the-top repentance that she had and fear that she was not going to be loved, to be completely cold and dismissive to Rodney. That's how I read it, but tell me what you see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't get that at all. I'm on the
Really?
Absolutely not. Yeah, like not that you can't read it that way, but no, did not take that at all. Like, even just him saying, tell her to do whatever. I just think it's like the breakdown of their leadership, that maybe Bradley's in charge of this, or that every time he talks to her, she's just overly apologizing or whatever. Her part about, you want me to go over here, is just an idea that I can't shake, that they are out of time, that they're not supposed to really exist in this universe, that they are from a bygone era. And even like simple things, which we're going to talk about something very strange she says soon, and we're going to talk about something strange she says next week or 2 weeks from now. I can't remember which one. But yeah, I did not take it as a challenging or like, you want me to do, like, nothing like that at all. That she is just wonderfully strange.
Well, for sure.
The three of them are wonderfully strange, and it is coming from a totally different place. Yeah,
and I do like, they are wonderfully strange. The three of them, we get the same tableau we have the first time we meet them, and she's even doing the hand wavy thing again. Which is haunting. I love that shot of her just practicing that almost like sleight of hand sort of thing she's doing is beautiful. But anyway, so she sends him out there, and they have that conversation that goes on forever. And just every time it cuts to the Mitchum brothers and then back to the security camera and back to them again, you can see their blood pressure rising until finally they almost like snap at each other. Like, how long's it been? It's 4 freaking years. And so, God, they're so funny. They really just keep getting better as we see them. And when they're talking to Warwick on his earpiece, and Bradley shouts at it now, and he scares him and it drops the piece, like, hurts his ear. It's terrific. And they come in and like, what is it you were talking about out there? And she says that they're in a version layer, and how lucky they are that they have this air conditioning. But it really did strike me that, so what is the actual meaning that we're talking about? This version layer, this different versions of themselves, or things are not what they're supposed to be, or things are backwards. And we're talking so much about opposites in scenes, the juxtapositions of things. So an inversion of what's supposed to be going on. I don't have a complete thought about that, but it was a very interesting reason to like bring this up out of nowhere. And it can't just be obviously just they're delightfully odd. So some deeper meaning to what's going on here. But what was how does this connect to like your overall reading of what's going on generally?
Well, they were just watching probably a weather report. We saw the weather report on the thing. And it's as if, maybe she's like a Dougie in that she was created.
Someone manufactured you.
And is repeating things that she's seeing, because she says,
Oh,
that we're in the version layer, that it's going to be hot and smoggy tomorrow. And I told him that we are so lucky to have air conditioning cooling our casino.
Which you can hear if you're repeating, like someone says an inversion layer is like in meteorology, an inversion is a phenomenon in which a layer of warm air overlays cooler air. Normally air temperature gradually decreases as altitude increases, but this relationship is reversed in an inversion. So if you heard Las Vegas is in inversion layer, you could hear it as, oh, we're in a version layer. But also, like, we're talking about all these different things for Formica tabletops, and a version layer could certainly be like one reality layer that she exists in a dream layer inside another dream layer, and we're in this
the intercourse between absolutely.
Right. It could be all of those things, or it could be that she is a creation as well that is repeating things that she sees, like the world is new. She's, the fact that she was just watching a weather report and she's talking about weather.
Yeah.
And it's just that she's saying in a version layer instead of inversion.
She says in the version layer, which is the is interesting there too. That's super interesting. God, part of it, I just can't wait to part of me, I don't want this to end. I love this show and these conversations, but I also can't wait to get to the end to be able to look back and be able to put more pieces together as we're going. Because the theories that you're starting to spin out here without being very careful and not talking about the future stuff is just whetting my appetite for more. So I want to see how these things connect. But it's crazy.
I love that the Mitchum brothers, they don't trust him. They hate him. Even when he gives them everything that they want, everything he's supposed to say, they're like, get the fuck out of here. The three women, right? So Candie, Mandy, and Sandy. I don't know if you've ever seen the film Perfect Blue. It's an anime. I saw it for the first time. Fantastic movie. It's an anime by Satoshi Kon. Now, I'm not saying that the Return is paying an homage to this movie, because there's three girls, like a girl pop group, three girls dressed in a similar fashion. They're in this band Cham. So I'm not saying The Return is an homage to that, although certainly Perfect Blue is full of inspirations to Lynch and his work. It's a really cool movie. I would recommend watching it. But I'll put in the Patreon, if I can remember, the side-by-side screenshots of the women. I love watching the brothers struggle, watching Candie as she's talking, and they're playing old school Twin Peaks music while this is going on. So Angelo Badalamenti's Half Speed Orchestra 1 Stair Music Danger theme. Is playing. So it's great to hear like something that you would have heard in season 2 or in any of the teasers for Twin Peaks. It's like a little bit of the old world is coming out here. You get hit again with another bit of kindness from the brothers.
I know. We fire her, she's got no place to go.
He's like, I know. If we fire her, she's got no place to go. And this feeds into my idea that she has no place because she doesn't really belong here.
That's great.
That there is no place for her outside of where she is right now.
I didn't know what to make of that line at all. And other than just like a hint at backstory, they've been together for a long time, they have caring, like all of that. But this extra connection that you're saying that maybe they are, like, that's really cool. Yeah.
And then Tony tells Douglas Jones that he has a vendetta against him. And again, I can't not hear Dune in my head, like he says using the ancient tongue.
He wishes to inform you that vendetta, as he puts it using the ancient tongue, the art of Candie is still alive. He does not wish to meet or speak with you.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He does not wish to meet or speak with you. Anyway, vendetta in the old tongue. I'll drop the sound clip here. We'll all be happy. I don't know. That's all I have. How dismissive they are of Tony is great at the end.
And Tono's reaction that he didn't get anything out of them. They didn't seem interested in it. They didn't seem angry. They didn't even seem thankful, which I think is really what I was hoping was happen. They were just like, all right. And he's just so confused, like to even like keep repeating, you have an enemy in Douglas Jones. Like maybe they'll hear me this time and I'll get something out of them. But the way they completely dismiss him is great.
Right. And for him, he's got to sell this because otherwise he's got to kill somebody that must have been his friend because they were covering for each other. Probably spent a lot of time together.
I would imagine.
Doing terrible things. And if this doesn't work, he's got to kill him. So we're going to go back to the Mitchums. The brothers are going to weigh their options.
Yep. It seems like the three ladies spend most of their time making cocktails. I love it. There's just the three of them in the kitchenette that you can see through there, and they're just making those drinks. Rodney's saying, now I know how Brando felt.
Yeah, I assume that's a Godfather reference.
I would assume, too. That must have been.
That's a lovely turn of phrase.
Yeah. But it's just the two of them and like the mob thing, and they're just a very different kind of mobster as we're seeing. They're kinder, gentler. I don't know. But it is funny. But then the two of them and the way that Rodney is just like, it's just at his wit's end. He's like, and Bradley just kind of, putting his hand on his shoulders, like, yeah, this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to kill the guy. It's great.
Yeah. But not that they're beyond killing him. Like, just we had seen, like, in this thing that, like, we got to call off that hit on Ike. Like, they were going to take Ike out.
Absolutely. Yeah. So not like pure, I mean, everyone's a shade of gray, but we know, like you're saying, just they're on this side of the line that we're drawing here and sorting people out. Yeah, but I got nothing else. So this is just a setting the scene up.
Yeah, this is the scene where you get the actual amount. It was $30,447,000 that they were shorted. I love their little mantra or whatever, like, fuck us once, shame on us. You fuck us twice, shame on you, you're dead.
It's
just kind of interesting. Like, if you do it once, it's our fault. But if you do it again, then you're going to get killed. So this is also wonderfully beautiful and strange and right in my alley. Is like while the brothers are talking, you see what the women are doing, and they're acting very strangely. Like Candie is standing with her back to us, like in the corner, Blair Witch style, while Sandy and Mandy are just making drinks. They do feel like robots as well. Like that's where suggesting a manufactured the way Dougie was manufactured. They do behave not quite like humans, but she is just facing the corner. She's just facing the corner with her back to us. It's just very strange.
I really hadn't noticed that. So again, like, I know that we have a different point of view on the way that I read her reaction to that, but now going from sitting there sobbing in the previous time we saw them in this setup and being completely inconsolable to now turning her back on the entire situation.
I don't see it as like turning it back as like a negative thing. I think she's just going through
Maybe.
it. She's just having she's having some things. I'm not saying she's turning her back like I'm done with these guys. Yeah. It's just weird. So we're going to go back to the South Dakota hotel room where Gordon is going to draw a picture when he gets a visit from Albert and then a visit from Laura. Well, a visit from Laura and then a visit from Albert, technically.
We're around the same time. Yeah, we got a David Lynch there, David Lynch doodle through Gordon Cole's hand. We have what does it look like? We got a dog with like big, massive tree branch like antlers.
It's a four-legged creature with antlers, like, yeah, almost like a deer, elk type thing.
And a hand reaching out, menacing almost, maybe with a little watch on. Anyway,
yeah, that hand reminds me of Bob, like coming out of episode 27, Path to the Black Lodge, when it's just that one arm. But then there's the clock. It's all about time is like such an important element.
Yep. And he's drinking his Bordeaux. I'm assuming it's Bordeaux sitting there. She goes to answer the door. We get the vision of Laura. So that's the scene from Fire Walk with Me. This is the source material of Fire Walk with Me whenever Laura goes to Donna's house and asks if she's her best friend after having seen Leland come out of the house when Bob was looking for the diary. So hugely emotional scene. And now we see Laura crying there, "Are you my best friend?" And then you hear in the background Sarah's voice calling for Laura, and that's from the pilot when she's calling up the stairs right after the scene when Doc Hayward and Harry unwrapped Laura's face, wrapped in plastic there. So combining the Fire Walk with Me and the pilot together into this one moment is really cool. And I love, like, we see from Gordon's point of view, we see Laura in the doorway, ghostly image, and then it reverse shot and you see it backwards as well, which I just think was a fun touch because it makes it more real, like it's actually in the space. Didn't need to do that, but it was a really cool touch to do that. And then as it fades out, Albert there looking confused, like, what is Gordon looking at? But Gordon really, like, I don't recall. I mean, it makes sense over all these years of being exposed to the Blue Rose cases, and maybe he was kind of drawn to the cases because he has something like Sarah does. Sarah has like the premonitions. I'm not saying it's of the same order or the way that it happens, but like he's definitely has this whatever psychic vibe that I hadn't really seen before. So is this kind of the first time that we've seen where there's something that could be supernatural happening to Gordon? I don't recall any other time like that happening.
Well, I mean, I think I just assume he's seen some pretty weird shit. Yeah, I mean, he's hanging out with Lil.
Well, that's true.
And all her magic and mystery.
That's true.
But no, we haven't really spent The Return, you spend a lot of time with Gordon, but he's not a character you really spend that much time where you would have a scene where you see him. I just assume he's used to this. This is a Blue Rose case.
Yeah.
He started this thing, so he's seen the weirdest stuff.
It's great.
You know what I mean? And we know from the Secret History, like everything that occurred in the Secret History he would have been briefed on it. So yeah, I don't think this is necessarily unusual. Right. It's interesting why he sees Laura and reverse Laura and all of that and what that could mean.
Albert is there to deliver Gordon the news that he had kind of traced the incoming text into Diane's phone. It pinged off the tower in Philly. We do find out that she's got a stable of suitors. So that guy that we saw originally, Champ.
Which, of course, interesting choice of words. Horses are such an important part of Twin Peaks, and just stable of suitors.
Fair enough, yeah. But instead of actually coming from Philly, it was routed through a server in Mexico. Was there? I don't know if there's been other Mexico references at this point. Is this the first time? Yeah.
No, but a lot of South American stuff all over the place, and we wonder about the punctuation changes, the title casing changes. So,
but Tammy doing a great job tracing that back and presumably breaking the encrypted message that Diane sent back to that text. They have Hastings. He's going to take them to the site, so we know about the coordinates. And then Cole, like you have mentioned before, whenever Diane interviewed Mr. C and she comes out and breaks down and hugs Gordon, and Gordon isn't able to kind of reciprocate that feeling. And we kind of get that message here.
Yeah, we get an answer to that.
Yeah, we get an answer to why that was. I felt it when she hugged me, but this confirms it. So, yeah, poor Diane. I mean, it was really, really rooting for Diane to be on our side of the line, but now she's at least straddling both sides of the line, if not over.
Well, yeah, we know she's sending messages back and forth from last week, right?
Also that she had gotten that message. The punctuation stuff, leaving aside that being a production error, did put a little doubt into like, is there a man in the middle attack or something going on? But nope, it looks like she is firmly.
Well, there could be. It goes through Mexico. Like, that's what I mean. Like the Mexico thing could help to explain that.
But anyway, yeah, going back, what would you, with the Lord's Vision?
I would love to own this picture. What a great drawing this would be to have in your life. The one that David Lynch drew. So, okay. So given that I see Judy as a knowing that destroys mysteries, there was a time before this podcast when I would have sat here and I would have talked at length about how I thought the sound of Lynch drawing this picture was very similar, if not the same sound that's coming out of the phonograph when the fireman tells Cooper to listen to the sounds. Like, if you listen to it, it for me, it always sounded like, and I was like, oh, this is Lynch. He's drawing this thing. It's connected to this thing. And then, of course, a listener, Manuel, over on Spotify, he pointed me to the actual source of the sound of the phonograph. And it's destroyed my dream. So now my dream is dead because it clearly is the sound that I'm about to tell you. So like Judy, I'm going to vomit up some eggs. And you guys will all know what the sound of the phonograph is. So in part 1, listen to the sounds. You hear that little skipping. I had said it sounded like a broken record. You had said, I think we didn't talk about it last time. You'd said it was the frog moth.
Oh no! I in that episode I thought it sounded like insects. Oh, because I hadn't seen the frog moth yet. So to me, it sounded like insects.
Oh, okay. I thought you were making a reference to the future, that you had remembered that.
That I remember something that far ahead would be amazing. But okay, no.
Many other people have said that. That's why I thought that's what you meant. Okay, so the sound of her opening the diary comes from the missing pieces. So there is a scene in the missing pieces when Laura reaches under her lamp. She grabs the diary key and unlocks it. And the sound of unlocking the diary is the sound that we hear on the record. And also, when she gets the key, like her hands are in a position that's very reminiscent of her meanwhile posture. Now, this all lines up and doesn't take me too far away from where I was. So I'm not too super mad that it doesn't take me completely away from where my head was at, because I had said, like, you know, as I said, that the phonograph was skipping. It was like a moment stuck in time. It was like the death of Maddie. When the record was skipping, it's this cycle of violence that keeps happening again and again and again and again. And if this is the sound of her diary opening, then it is the same thing, right? I mean, it's listen to the sounds. Listen to what Laura is telling us about this violence. Of note, too, when I say it's a diary, this is the blue diary, the one that Cooper has in the pilot, Nervous About Meeting Jay Tonight, not the secret red diary. So, and then if you think about that and listen to the sounds and hears the sounds, and she's trying to tell you what happened, Gordon. And then what follows is that reverse shot of Laura crying from Fire Walk With Me. You know, as that you mentioned, it occurs after she realizes her dad is her part of her brain starts to realize that her dad is who's doing these terrible things to her, to us. You know, we're told to listen to the sound. We need to listen to what Laura is trying to tell us through her pain. And in an episode that features so many acts of violence against women, you know, violence from a strange man, violence from your husband, violence from a family member, Cooper was supposed to hear and stop this, and yet it continues. And now Gordon is being shown this image of Laura, and he has to be the one to stop it, to stop this freaking pain loop. But yeah, so then Albert's going to arrive into that.
God,
but man,
I love that.
I got to tell you, you pretend that you're me though, and you listen to it and you crank that volume up and you hear the sound of his pencil on the thing, and you're like, that's got to be it. And then you're wrong because somebody tells you what it actually is.
But what it actually is still really freaking cool. I love that. That's great.
Oh, no, it's great. Oh, it's great. That's great.
Wow.
Great.
Thanks for that.
I like the heavily encrypted message as well. That so Albert comes in, as you said, he tells us about these things, the heavily encrypted message. They have Hastings. He's going to take them to the site. Now, was it heavily encrypted and they had to crack it? Or is it typical Albert sarcasm? And he's saying this heavily encrypted message, and it clearly says what it's saying, like that there's no encryption at all. She's just saying they have Hastings. He's going to take him to the site. Like, it's so obvious, because that's Albert's style to say this heavily encrypted message, and it's, you know, written on the side of your car or something. But yeah, that's it. So we can jump over to Tammy, who's going to, or we're not going to jump over. Tammy's going to stop by. Tammy's going to stop by the room with a new set of photos from New York.
Tammy's swinging by. We got the slow motion of Tammy coming down the hallway for some reason.
Yeah, it's slow mo, but I think it's also like highly audible to show you that they're talking in silence. So he's got his earpiece cranked way loud. So yeah, it has this like ominous wind, which is like the air conditioner. in the hotel that you hear humming, which is just neat for the little joke when he's got to go. Ugh! Anytime he does that, it's always funny.
Which is great because as soon as Albert tells him to turn up the hearing aid so they can have a quiet conversation, you know that it's going to end up with that again. So I it's similar to Candie and The Fly, and you can see the joke coming a while away, and it's still fun when it happens. This one too, you know it's going to happen. You get a bunch of stuff in the middle, and then it pays off later. Great.
I forgot to mention with The Fly, it's like the second time we had that fly in season 2, I think, with Lucy. Remember she had that, she was going after the fly for the longest time. And then when she hit the fly, it had all this blood in it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But there's been multiple flies. I feel like that's a recurring thing in Twin Peaks world.
Yeah, so we get the photos. Do you remember the murders in the loft in Manhattan? Yes, we remember the bloody frickin' murders. God, those photos were disgusting. But this photo is Mr. C from a very early, one of the earliest SD cards or drives or whatever, so early image. So he was there setting up or whatever during the setup of the boxes. So confirmation that Mr. C is involved in all of that, and we had kind of known the mysterious billionaire or whatever. But yep, there he is.
Yeah, we didn't really know, right? But it was like thought about, and then the when you talk to Philip Jeffries in quotes, missed you in New York. Is he connected? There's another guy in the photo? It's hard to tell who Mr. C is talking to. But yeah, was this a trap? I had said, was this a box a trap to catch Cooper as he came out at 2:53? Because he goes into it and goes before he goes out. Like, was it intended for that? Like, what was the intention of this box as well? But Mr. C set it up, so he's working on that shit.
Sure is.
Okay, so we're going to go over to the Great Northern, where Ben is going to get a call from Sylvia, and he's going to ask Beverly out.
Yeah. Again, you've been talking, making sure that we pay attention to the relationship of parents and children. Ben's first concern was for Johnny, which Sylvia did not appreciate at all. But I don't know. You gotta. How is Johnny? He's someone they've been trying to protect his entire life. So obviously that's gonna be the first thing he thinks about.
I was going to say, I feel a little bad for Sylvia. She went through a pretty harrowing thing. She's been through a lot. But then there's so much animosity still between them. Like, she's asking for more money, and it kind of reverts back to Benjamin, like the old dynamic between the two of them.
Absolutely. We get that confirmation of their separation and divorce here. Like the most obvious divorce in the world that it should have happened. And she's going to call her lawyer and make sure that Ben's going to get your money. No, I'm not. It's like they've had this conversation 1,000 times over the years too, or versions of this too. So you really get to see that as Ben is completely defeated, like head in his hands.
Right. Just like Bill Hastings.
Just like Bill, yeah, made me think of the exact same thing. Just
exact posture.
And asking Beverly out. Well, he just asked, would you like to have dinner with me? So it doesn't necessarily, it's not Ben of the olden times of being whatever. It is Ben who just needs some companionship at this moment. Is how I choose to see it anyway. But they definitely have chemistry, so who knows where the night will go with them. But yeah, another nice scene for him. But so rough that he's trying to deal with both Sylvia and the things that have happened and his son, and it's just what a mess.
All right, so we're going to jump over. Margaret is going to call or speak with Hawk at the sheriff's station from her cabin.
I feel like you're going to have a lot more to say about this than I do. So why don't you take us through Margaret talking to Hawk about the electricity humming and hearing the mountains and rivers?
Sure. Yeah, everything she says is very cool.
Electricity is humming. You hear it in the mountains and rivers. You see it dance among the seas and stars and glowing around the moon. But in these days, the glow is dying. What will be in the darkness that remains?
Obviously, electricity is humming all over Twin Peaks, all over this world of Twin Peaks, and all of the places that we visit in this greater Twin Peaks world. The sea and the stars, like you have to think about the ocean of pure consciousness. But now the glow is dying. I love when they talk about the Truman brothers are true men. They are your brothers, and the others, the good ones who have been with you. Sorry, Chad.
Yeah, even Margaret's like, not that guy.
And then they talk about, she says, like, now the circle is almost complete because someone is missing. right? Someone is missing that we need to bring into this circle for this to come together. And then she says,
Watch and listen to the dream of time and space. It all comes out now, flowing like a river.
and it's an interesting choice of words. Watch and listen, of course, like TV, like film, like the fireman's instructions to Cooper, listen to the sounds. And it all comes out now flowing like a river. That which is and is not. Hawk, Laura is the one. And this which is and is not, non-existence. This idea, this ocean of pure consciousness, this purple area where ideas come from. This is all from my take anyway. Your mileage may vary, but it is the land unmanifest, right? It is the unformed ideas that when you are creating things, when you're writing a story, when you're catching an idea for a story or a new thing, it just flows out of you. That's language that we use when we're onto a story. And it's like you can take these ideas, this idea of Laura as the central idea of this show. This whole story is about Laura. She is the one that makes Twin Peaks. Yeah. So that's the way I take her reading. And the end of this scene is beautiful, like how it goes into the sound of wind as we fade into the darkness. Yeah. And I love every minute we get to spend with the log lady.
Yeah, no, your take on it is great. I mean, obviously there are the obvious things that jump out, like the electricity and whatnot. And again, you're talking about like sorting the people out, the good ones who've been with you all along, in this almost complete circle. I don't know that has anything to do with when she says circle and it's so evocative, and we're talking about the wind and the trees that we've seen before. It just makes me think of Glastonbury Grove and that circle. I know it's not, but like the way that these things are kind of lining up together.
No, absolutely. It's absolutely circle of those trees.
It's not literally that, but yes, all these visual metaphors coming back together. I love what you're saying about this flowing like a river, a flow state. When anyone gets into that creative like zone, that flow state and the way it comes pouring out of you is very cool. And yeah, that which is and is not, the non-existent, really awesome. Man, we're really getting into the meat of this stuff now.
Yeah. So then it goes from the sound of the wind and darkness into Rebecca Del Rio's playing No Stars at the Roadhouse.
My dream is to go to that place, you know, the one where it all began, on a starry night, on a starry night, when it all began.
I have enjoyed all of the musical performances to this point. This one, though, her voice is incredible.
Oh, it's superb.
This is phenomenal. A standout of all of the other. They're all wonderful. This is a standout even beyond those. Absolutely beautiful. Her voice, her phrasing, her tone. It's just something. And just the length of time that we sit here with her, too. It's a very long song, this performance, and sometimes they are longer than others. But this is an exceptionally long one. It is noted that this song was co-written by David Lynch, which is very cool. I love the mix of English and Spanish. We had mentioned Mexico before. Not saying there's necessarily anything there, but she is I think, a Mexican-American singer.
Well, fans that have seen Mulholland Drive, like that was when I first became aware of her and her music. She does the absolutely gorgeous cover of Crying in Spanish, Llorando.
Que te quiero aún más mucho más que ayer. Dime tú qué puedo hacer. No me quieres ya y siempre estaré llorando por tu amor.
Rebecca Del Rio was an immense talent. Sadly, she passed away in 2025, like so many people from the show. But she is just phenomenal. And the lyrics are all important. I want to talk about all of them. But what about Moby? You got Moby on stage with her. Did you notice Moby's up there?
No, that really?
Yeah. So Moby's playing with her.
Oh, I didn't realize that was Moby.
Moby picked today to listen to our podcast for the first time, and Dan didn't even notice Moby was on. Moby, I noticed you were there.
I love Moby. I'm a big fan. No one told me.
No,
all right.
He was on stage.
Cool. Well, let's talk about some of the lyrics, because, I mean, there's just a lot of imagery here.
Okay, so the lyrics are very important. So you have, my dream is to go to that place, you know the one, where it all began. This is all, again, it's this going back to that thing, to the original Twin Peaks dream. Like, and it's all about going back to try to capture magic again, but as we're going to get through the song, we're going to see whether or not that's actually possible. Also, the use of the word where. This is identifying a place where it all began. Going back to that place where it all began. On a starry night, when it all began. And now we switch to time. Time is such an important part of this puzzle.
Because Margaret had even said to us just in the previous scene, watch and listen to the dream of time and space. So we're getting both of those things here.
Location and time. Absolutely. And on a starry night when it all began, when we dance with the stars in our eyes, that night when it all began, you said, hold me, hold me, hold me. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. We're with the stars. I saw them in your eyes. Now she switches to Spanish. In roughly translated, in your words and in your kisses under a night full of stars, under the starry night, long ago, but now it's a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Like at this point in the song, like it clicks over, and this world that you're trying to go back to is now the past, this nostalgic look back, and we're going to try to go back there. But it's a dream. I saw in your eyes, I saw the stars. That part was in Spanish. But there are no more stars. But there are no more stars. No stars, no stars. There are no stars. And then she just repeats no stars over and over and over again. Like, you cannot go back. Like, along with that Harry Dean Stanton song about his love going away. For me, this, it's all about Laura and Laura leaving the story and how the stars and the light is gone. And you can recreate it with a teddy bear if you want, but it's not the same. The log lady says, like, what will be in the darkness that remains when there are no stars?
Right. Margaret had said the glow is fading now. The glow of the stars, all of this is changing.
Right. So this idea of going backwards and trying to relive this dream, it's gone. A very sad song, very beautiful song.
Beautiful song.
And even when the stars turn, a time presents itself, so it's recurring images. But that's it. So we you said this was going to be short. It almost ended up being 2 hours. So curses on you.
Okay, we got through the first half pretty quickly, but man, there's just so much of that in that back half. What a great episode. Wow, man, only a handful really left to go, but things are really cooking now. So what do we got coming next? What are we going to do? Part 11 next?
Yeah, well, 2 more parts. So we only have part 11 and part 12, and then we'll have a break. And then I guess we'll be back for the last 6.
All right.
Scary stuff. All right. So I hope you enjoyed yourself. Let us know what you think. Tell friends. Tell enemies, I guess. Maybe that's how you bridge back together. Maybe that's how you mend your fence. Or tear your fence down. We don't need fences. Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else. I don't know how to end this.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye. Bye, guys.
I don't know where that was going. That was great.
pero ya no hay estrellas, pero ya no hay estrellas.
Thank you for listening to the Meanwhile podcast with Dan Johnson and Eric Grissom. If you would like to support the Meanwhile podcast, join our Patreon. It's available right now. You can sign up, and for just a few dollars a month, you can keep this show going, and you can get access to some exclusive podcasts and some secret stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. So if you'd like to join, go to ericgrissom.com/meanwhile and look for the Patreon link. If you like our show, please consider rating and reviewing the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're hearing this now. Meanwhile is produced by Eric Grissom and Where's My Robots? The Meanwhile theme song is written and performed by Paul Finn and Evening Pines. If you want to let us know what you thought of the show, you can reach Dan at danjnj.com, both on the web and on Blue Sky. Eric can be found on Blue Sky at ericgrissom.com, which is also his website. It's also me, right? That's weird. We'll see you again. And in the meantime, be good.
Listen to the sounds.
Meanwhile.